Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're going through things. Maybe you're confused.
Ayahuasca helps people wake up. That's
for sure. There's always hope to be better. Good reason to drink ayahuasca. The problem is that we don't really know what the problem is. If I'm here, then I'm there, then what's me? When we actually take a breath and go and feel spiritually clean, you don't want to trade that for anything.
There are so many people now serving this medicine that shouldn't be.
Just because you know how to play guitar and you can sing some songs in Spanish doesn't mean you have any business serving ayahuasca. We're programmed to think that in the darkness, we expect to find evil. And so we're all afraid, and that's how they keep us all down. Who knows what is behind the curtain that you can't see?
So welcome, Shaman Omar, to the Stage for Living podcast.
Thank you so much.
Actually, I'm going to do a little introduction about who Shaman Omar is. The Shaman Omar is a mystic, shaman, ayahuasquero, teacher, author, and speaker. He bridges ancient shamanic wisdom with modern understanding. So, Omar, tell us what it is that you bring to the world. Tell us about ayahuasca and how this is the medicine that found you.
Yeah, I don't think I bring ayahuasca to the world. I think ayahuasca is already here. I think I'm more of just the conduit.
You know, I have friends that are psychiatrists and psychologists that drink ayahuasca. So it's great because it changes who they are and what they can bring to their clients. So explain what is it?
So fundamentally, ayahuasca is a tea. So it's a tea. So whether you're taking peppermint leaf and you're taking lavender and cooking it in water, with ayahuasca, it's the ayahuasca vine and it's a chacruna leaf and it's cooked in water. It's a tea.
Where does it come from?
Rainforest, Amazon, the jungles. It comes through the entire Amazon and then the tropical rainforest. But in essence, ayahuasca in the physical form is a tea. It's a 2-ingredient tea. Now, there are lots of tribes that add different admixtures and so on, and everyone has a special version. But in the fundamental essence of ayahuasca, it's a 2-ingredient tea. But in the metaphysical aspect of what ayahuasca is the name for the spirit of the earth that we would know in English as Mother Nature. So in Christian mysticism, they would say Gaia. In Native American traditions, they would say Pachamama. So it's the spirit of the earth, Mother Nature herself. It's just that in the earth, we have the womb of the earth, which is the rainforest, the Amazon. It's 5% of the land that produces over 20% of all oxygen, including over all the oceans. We don't realize how much oxygen. Go anywhere on the earth, there's oxygen, right? 80% of the earth is oceans, and there's oxygen there, and 20% of the whole oxygen is produced by the plants in the rainforest. Thus, the rainforest of the Amazon is the womb of Mother Nature, and in the womb of the earth presents us with a vine called ayahuasca.
How long has it been around?
Who knows? I mean, then you have, just as the Christian mystics would say, there's Gaia, which would be Mother Nature, and then Sophia would be the cosmic divine feminine wisdom, almost like the cosmic umbilical cord that connects from a feminine planet to a feminine, and so on, just as there's masculine planets. You would say, in Hebrew, you would put the spiritual aspect of what this is as like the Shekhinah, which would be like the divine feminine. So now you would say it's the Asha, it's the divine feminine. So the connection between the divine feminine wisdom, that whether it's inside of the earth as Mother Earth or the earth as a child of the universe, there is wisdom that exists universally, and everything goes back to the first creation. But how it materializes itself, whether through a mountain, whether through a vine, whether through a leaf, whether into the birth of a person, there's certain wisdom that exists before and after our existence. And ayahuasca is a plant medicine that provides us an ability to connect ourselves, to have a truly spiritual experience, to find your purpose in life. And of course, anything that has to do with healing, depression, yes. Specific things, yes. And of course, the human component of it changes things, because if you have an amateur ayahuasca is not simply, I guess, best put, ayahuasca is not simply a liquid that you pour into a cup and you drink it. Now we have ayahuasca. It is a liquid, but reducing ayahuasca to a vine or reducing ayahuasca to a product in a tea is like reducing the human body to adrenochrome or reducing the human body to the physical body, right? We have a soul, right? And so this is like the klipa, like this is like the covering over our soul. And you could say in essence that ayahuasca is an essence of a mother, cosmic mother essence that has the ability to do anything when respected and treated properly.
So it's, you talked about different energies really that people with different religions tap into. So ayahuasca, when you drink it, you're connecting with this spirit or with this essence of the divine.
Yeah, I mean, what is divine? Like when people say, yeah, it just depends on what people mean by that word, because we are divine by, in my perspective, in my worldview, we have a soul, and our soul is eternal, which means at the beginning, whatever you think the beginning was, whether you think it's God from the Garden of Eden, or you think it's Ahura Mazda, or you think it's whatever you think created everything, when there is no thing in space, there was nothing except the infinite potentiality. And in this infinite potentiality is in essence, in ancient Kemet, they called it the Ma'at. The Ma'at is like when we say science calls it dark matter, right? So dark matter is a substance in between things that we can see and measure, including light. And so at the beginning, if there was a word, from nothing came something, and that first something was word, which would mean the intention of creation, then the only eternal truth is life itself, because the only thing eternal is life. And so the part inside of us that we call our soul is connected to the eternal one. And that one thing is eternal life itself. That is God in the highest understanding. And that is branched off between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Thus, the principle of gender, the principle of polarity, in all of the basic understanding of alchemy and the seven hermetic principles, it's present in both, or it's not real in any form. That's in the physical materializations. Just look at our solar system. It's balanced between masculine and feminine planets.
Really?
Of course. Everything, even though, like, for example, I'm a man and you're a woman, right? We have both masculine and feminine within us. We have the left side of our body is the feminine, and this is where we receive, and then the right side is the masculine. And then our brains are the opposite. So the right side of your brain is the masculine, and the feminine, and the left side of your brain is the masculine. And so thus you have father, son, and you have mother, moon. So when the sun's up, the analytical, masculine, logical part of our brains are going. And when the moon's up at night, we become what? We become more artistic, more creative. When the full moon rises, the waters rise, and thus the creativity rises. That's why practices of all kinds for thousands and thousands of years across the world were all done at night. There's feminine medicines and masculine medicine.
So tell me, how is ayahuasca served? So we've learned that it's, something that comes from the Amazon, and it is a tea, and it has this essence of the mother. Mm-hmm. How do people experience ayahuasca? Tell me about ceremony. Like, I can't I'm sure I could order ayahuasca online and drink it myself, which I don't recommend.
Yeah.
Tell me how people have access to it, and what is that like? What is a ceremony for ayahuasca look like? And the importance of sitting with someone like yourself, who is a shaman, opposed to trying to handle this medicine on your own.
I'm an ayahuasquero, which is an ayahuasca shaman, right?
But tell me about a ceremony. Like, think of the people out there that have no idea what this is, and this is the first time they're hearing about ayahuasca.
Yeah. So the most important thing, I would say, is the intention. If your intention is clear, then then your path to the medicine should be clear. Like, meaning that if you're going to drink ayahuasca because your favorite celebrity just said they drank ayahuasca, you just read Will Smith's book about how ayahuasca healed him, or Chris Rock or anyone, and that's why you're going to drink ayahuasca, stay away, okay? Because karma means action. And if the ego is the reason why you went, then the ego is what you'll face. And that is our ego. It can be one of the dirtiest things imaginable, because ego is what makes someone decide to be like a humble monk, but ego is also what creates a Hitler. Ego creates a Caesar. Ego creates good and bad of all, right? So if your intention's clear, then that's the most important thing. So say, oh, I mean, no, everything's good in my life, and say, is everything perfect? Can things be better? It's like, so do you feel like things could be better? Yeah, I feel like things good. Then there's always hope to be better. Good reasons, drink ayahuasca. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're going through things. Maybe you're confused. You don't know what to do in life. Maybe you reached all the pinnacles that you thought you were going to reach and it just doesn't feel good. Like something more, something more. That's where you drink ayahuasca. And of course, anything that has to do with healing. For sure. Those are great reasons to drink ayahuasca. And then number two, the second most important thing, of course, with that comes like finding the right place to drink ayahuasca, which is very, 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 very important. And it's becoming more and more important. So the intention, where you drink it, for sure, and who. And then I guess number two would be your dietary preparation. If you take your dietary preparation, which is a minimum of 3 days, vegan, no animals, which vegan means no milk, no cheeses, no flesh of any animals, etc. And that's minimum. More is better, sure, but 3 days is the minimum, for sure. With the attention, the right place, the right person serving it, and the right diet, you're going to receive what you came for. And you'll receive, more importantly, you'll receive what you need most. Because if we knew exactly what was wrong, then we would already be working on it. Right? The problem is that we don't really know what the problem is. That's the problem. The problem is we think we know, and then like someone's like, your problem is, tell me. And then, to this end, and someone tells us we rejected. The psychologist tells you, listen, but no one really knows. It's all stored deep. It's all deep, deep, deep stuff, Our entire ancestry of every man, every father and every mother you've ever had, every ancestor you've ever had since the beginning lives inside of our bones. Dormant DNA means sleep. And then our DNA is our cosmic ancestry. And then we're here with this like flesh mind thinking that we know what's going on. And so it can be very humbling.
So tell me what an ayahuasca ceremony is or entails, or
what is it? So what happens?
I want you to think of people that don't know anything about this. Mm-hmm. So I want to give them information.
Yeah.
What it is. And you and I have so much experience with the medicine, so it seems like something so basic, but what is an ayahuasca?
It's basic, but not. It's also the most complex thing imaginable. Like actually, an ayahuasca ceremony, from my view, is like one of the most complex things ever imaginable. Every time it's like being a part of creating a solar system. It's not like it's a whole different game. It's not a game. That's the problem. If it was a game, it'd be fun. Games are fun. Serving ayahuasca is, so you would prepare, you would find the right place, the right tension, the right diet. You would show up. You would prepare like you're going to a spiritual sleepover, right? There's no makeup. There's no like getting yourself ready. This is not like a social gathering. This is deep spiritual work. There's no talking to anyone. You talk at the beginning, sure, if you want, but everyone's basically laying down in a space, and buckle up for the grandest experience imaginable. It's like a 4, 5, 6 hour, live shamanic concert through the cosmos. 1 second you're someone singing, and then you're shooting through like a cosmic wormhole, only to realize later, a day later, a year later, that you were actually going through your own DNA.
So everyone's experience is
completely different. That's why it's impossible to
really explain it. And some people hallucinate, right? They see things, but not everyone.
No, you don't hallucinate. That's the point.
It's not hallucination.
No, hallucination means that you're seeing a vision that has no correlation to anything that's grounded in any form of reality or any connection to anything. So, for example, someone takes LSD and they're staring at the sky, and then they say they see like clowns that are turning into from fire. It's a hallucination.
Okay.
Someone can take mushrooms and see the wall melting. That's a hallucination, right? But in an ayahuasca ceremony, you're seeing something that's generally connected to something else. There's
related to yourself.
There's a reason for everything you're seeing. You're being guided by a person in a room who is guiding you, protecting a physical space, but then also is a conduit in the etheric space. And then in that etheric space, you have Mother Ayahuasca. So I don't believe that ayahuasca just shows you something for no reason.
Wow, that's beautiful, because that is really a great description on the difference, and it really puts
it's not
for me.
It's not a psychedelic.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
No, a psychedelic means that the substance that you're taking, that the active ingredient is foreign to the brain. So thus, mushrooms is natural and organic, right? But psilocybin is foreign to the brain. LSD is a chemical drug, and that's foreign to the brain. But with ayahuasca, the only single ingredient, there's two ingredients, but the only single ingredient that goes to the brain is the DMT in the chacruna leaf. But DMT is not foreign to the brain.
Right.
What's in our pineal gland, it produces and absorbs it. It's in our cerebral spinal fluid. I can't remember what study, but it was like 3.5 years ago. I remember they said they saw DMT in fingernail clippings, which was an interesting thing because fingernail clippings are now detached from the physical body, but it's in the fingernail clippings.
Huh?
And also, almost more importantly, I have to realize that DMT is in every single plant on Earth that's green.
Really?
Grass, everything that's green on Earth has DMT. And we could say that's what connects Mother Nature in the plant kingdom all together to live symbiotically, just as we have that in our body. So conceptually, we should be living symbiotically within humanity. But we don't have access to that.
Right.
Because it's asleep. And that's the whole point of waking up.
Yeah, well, ayahuasca helps people wake up. That's
for sure. That'll happen. That'll work. That'll happen.
So how did you find this medicine, or this find you? Tell me about your getting on this path. I mean, becoming a shaman is one whole story, but it had to start somewhere of this medicine entering your life.
What
were you going through that it presented itself? Did it present it? Did you go?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even know. At that time, these medicines weren't even like, there was like two. I remember when I even heard the word, I looked it up, and there was two things. There was this one article on Vice about someone dying in the Amazon, and there was like this one there was this one like article that someone wrote that was kind of more like anthropology. There was like nothing. There was YouTube, nothing on it. But Google, a couple things. No, it was just the right place at the right time. Ayahuasca didn't teach me about like the history of the world or like the religions or things like this, but it organized those things. It organized it into a proper channel. But I was searching for more meaning, not more in like to receive more in life, but more of like purpose in life.
Yeah.
Like I was looking for like where to put life into, and the rest is history.
When did you know that you were going to be the one that was going to start serving this?
Oh, never. Yeah, no, never. No, that was the worst idea ever. Everyone I know that serves ayahuasca like for real, they were never like, they didn't decide to do it. Like it's a very similar situation. Like either they were raised in the Amazon by their father or grandfather that like tribal through that, and based off of how they responded in the medicine, or when they sang something in the ceremony, things happen. They saw this person has the gift, and then they put the energy into them trained with that, as opposed to becoming a farmer or becoming a vegetalista. I just decided to follow the guidelines. I drank ayahuasca And that was it. I didn't need to ask anyone like, oh, is it real? I knew immediately. Um, like I'll tell you why I knew immediately because, I've had like 6 concussions and 2 comas. And the first coma I had, I was in a wrestling match. I was 17 and I got headbutted in a wrestling match. I ended up winning, but I don't remember anything. The next thing I remember was like my eyes closed and opening your eyes, like flashing, like a TV, flash, flash. And I remember like flash, flash, seeing like the gymnasium lights, flash, flash. And then I see like the ambulance and people, then flash, flash, flash. And next thing I see, oh, I saw them like taking my stuff off and like a surgical table almost. But there was no surgery, but that's what it was, just like that. They probably gave me an MRI, I don't know. And then flash, flash. And I'm like a security camera looking down at my body in the hospital.
You were like the security.
I'm consciously looking like, and looking at my body laying in the hospital.
An out-of-body experience.
Yeah, for 2.5 days.
Really?
Yeah, for 2.5 days.
Because you were in a coma.
Yeah, I was in a coma. I'm in a coma right there. People come to you. The craziest part was like a security camera. I knew everything that when I came back, I knew everything that everyone said. I knew everyone's name. I zoomed in and looked at name tags. Like a security camera. And that was a very big experience, of course, because then I was like, well, there I am. But if I'm here, that I'm there, then what's me? You know? But I'm having like the real experience of that. I'm not just like thinking about it at a yoga class or meditation in New York. Like I'm like in the experience. Like I'm observing my physical body there. Remember, I didn't even know what happened. I know it was in a wrestling match. Next thing I know, I'm here. Right. So I didn't know what happened. I'm in the gown. Like I was like, what happened? I was just, and so at a certain point, I remember my mom was like very stressed out, like hovering over me, like shaking my body because they said, they were saying like, oh, we don't know, if, when he wakes up, like what can happen? This could be this, that we don't know. Right. They're like, and so she's like, oh, shaking me. And I remember like, I started like leaving, like very slowly, very gently, like I'm pulling out of the camera, zooming out. And then I start going through and there's like, then all of a sudden I didn't like turn around, but all of a sudden there was like light. And then as I go through this like light, I see what's clearly, obviously a divine feminine figure, which is like, you would say angels, but like the queen of the angels, not like a little angel flying like a fairy. I'm talking about like proper. And I recognize immediately, this is like my cosmic mother. Doesn't mean that it's not like the cosmic mother. It doesn't, but I knew for sure that my soul was attached to this divine feminine being. It was beyond obvious, right? I knew that more than my soul's attached to my birth mother. I'm telling you, and I love my mother. I'm just saying there's different levels. There's human, and then there's the spiritual level. And so I remember having this experience and like, what if this, you know what I mean? I was confused. It's like, shh, it'll all make sense. And then like going through this like cosmic umbilical cord. And then I remember like, oh, but then my mother, and so I kind of shoot back. This is like all shoot back. I'm trying to like tell her, Mom, don't worry, everything's okay. And then I'm being pulled still. So as I'm trying to go back and forth, it's like longer. The perception, it felt like I was like longer and longer. And then eventually, almost like I was looking through this womb. I peeked slightly through this womb, like, and then I see the universe, and I see like there's my star family. Like this is like there's my like mother, father. This is like my star neighborhood. Very crazy stuff. Like very familiar, right?
I mean, this is a whole other conversation of near-death experience.
Yeah, I don't give this a shot.
Because this is a near-death experience.
This is what will lead right to the ayahuasca point, why I said I didn't need to ask anyone. So that I decided to return. I decided to come back. Yeah. And I remember and I was like, oh, I'll be back. And then boom, I just declared it, and I woke up in my bed. And everyone was like, oh my God, but I'm not so surprised because I've been watching them the whole time. Right? So they're all like, oh my God, they can't believe it. I'm like, no, I've been here the whole time. It was very odd. I told doctors what they said. I said, by the way, it was wrestling and I won. He goes, Like, because how did he know that 2 days ago, like how
That they were
3 days ago I was asleep.
right.
He's like, what? He goes, what's this, football or something? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, some kind of sport. He goes, well, we don't have to ask who won. And he's ha 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 ha. They were laughing, and I'm like, in a coma, but I saw you.
Right.
And so, yeah, so that was interesting. I was 16, and from that moment, that's what made me dive into ancient religions before the Abrahamic faiths, before Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. I'm diving into like what was before that, because my experience was not God as a man, angels are what a men, and prophets are men. Clearly, what I witnessed and was reminded of was a truly divine, feminine, cosmic creator force of some kind that clearly I was attached to and came from, if not not from that room into this body at some point. Maybe she transports, I don't know. I don't really care. I don't need to put into words of what I clearly experienced, right? So I started diving into the ancient religions and the ancient mysteries to find out, like, there's no way I'm the only person in the world that's ever experienced this.
Right.
And as I just took a little bit further than 3,000 years ago, everything's there, And that was at 16. And so when I found the medicine at 32, 16 years later, I kind of spent 16 years, for the most part, searching for that truth, like to, in essence, be reunited, but to understand in this dimension what that means, right? And sports and girls and work and, you're in your 20s, like, what does it mean to be Omar? What is a man? You know what I mean? And all those things, had a child, all those things. But it was always in the back of my mind. And so when I experienced ayahuasca for the first time, I was reunited, the Cosmic Mother. Wow. So that was my second time meeting the Cosmic Mother. So when I experienced that, I didn't need anyone to tell me. I've been searching for half of my life to get back to this place. And from there, it's the rest of history.
The rest is history. What kind of training have you done or did you have to do to be able to serve this medicine? I mean, I think it's so sacred to serve this medicine, and it's something that it's so important who you sit with and really trusting the person, because you want to feel safe, you want to feel guided, you want to feel protected. So what kind of training did you do? I mean, I know you have drank this medicine more than anyone I know, and in places and by yourself. Really have gone deep to give you those skills to be able to hold this space for people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I had nearly 700 ceremonies in 3 years. In various jungle experiences. I mean, that's step one. One thing is time. So there's time. Like, one of my teachers has been drinking ayahuasca since they were 5.
5 years old.
Yes. And so, and it doesn't mean they were like, we have to realize we're dealing with like shamans and lore,
and people that this is their life. This is how they grow up.
But like, I heard Sadhguru doesn't even touch the ground when he walks. Like we have these things. Like, there's a Buddhist monk that bends spoons. There's the lore.
All possible.
There's just a lot of lore, right? And so, you have to remember that we're in an ancient civilization with ancient medicines beyond stories. We're not, the guru, not like that. Yeah. Those are, no one has seen. They can serve you this medicine and show you what they're talking about. So you have to have a very, very, very serious level of respect for a shamanic culture that's thousands of years old, that they can pour what they're telling you and you can drink it and find out. Okay? It doesn't require you to believe. You don't need to believe that gravity is real. Right? You say, oh, I don't believe that ayahuasca is real. Oh, it's fine. You don't need to believe gravity. I can show you gravity. I can show you ayahuasca. And so that's what we have to understand. So when I say they start at 5, what it means is that there's a drop.
Right.
Okay. It's like, it doesn't mean they're drinking cups of medicine at 5 years old. Okay. But the point is they were initiated at that age. Right. And so, So I'm in the line between telling the story that they told me the story to make sure to look what the truth is, but it's fine. We keep the lure. But if someone was initiated with ayahuasca at 5 and I meet them at 56 years old and I'm 2 years in and they're 51 years in, well, now they're 63 years in and I'm 12 years in, right? Now they drink ayahuasca generally like every Friday, right? And I basically was serving, 120 plus ceremonies a year for a decade straight. And so one is time. You cannot compare 62 years doing something to 12. But then there's time and ceremony.
Right. So
time and ceremony, you're talking about thousands of ceremonies leading. And more importantly, it's not just like a ceremony. Because if in the Amazon, you serve medicine to the same people. It's like the same 8 to 12 people all the time. But taking the medicine and going to Paris, taking the medicine in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, taking the medicine, in the middle of different jungles, taking the medicine to the Wadi Rum Desert of Jordan, taking the medicine to the mountain in the Wadi Musa, the Valley of Moses, drinking ayahuasca where Moses saw the burning bush at the sunrise. Like these are different things, right? And so to understand the medicine, you have to understand yourself in the medicine. So when people ask me, like, how do you learn how to serve ayahuasca? I say, you have to learn how to drink ayahuasca.
Right.
So until you've served yourself ayahuasca 100 times by yourself, then you don't ever consider giving it to somebody else.
Right.
Why would you? Because you have to drink the medicine first. We should have led with that. A real ayahuasquero consumes the medicine they're going to serve first, and then they serve it to you. And so the idea that you're not going to drink the ayahuasca before you serve the ayahuasca means you don't know how to drink ayahuasca, and you shouldn't. Just because you know how to play guitar and you can sing some songs in Spanish doesn't mean you have any business serving ayahuasca. Because Spanish, by the way, in a little secret, in the Amazon, like deep in the real Amazon, they don't speak Spanish.
No, they have their own languages.
Spanish is from Europe.
Yeah.
Spanish is Spain. Spain is Europe. The only reason why Spanish is in South America is because they were conquered by the Catholic conquistadors. That's one reason why Jesus is known there. Why does Brazil speak Portuguese? Because the Portuguese took them and the Spanish took them, and the Pope drew a line and says, you guys, you have the other half. That's it. It's nothing to do with divine anything. And so when you go into the real Amazon, they don't want to speak Spanish to you. So you're speaking Spanish to somebody who's translating it to Kokama. And if they do eventually speak Spanish to you, it's a courtesy. And their Spanish is as bad as my Spanish. It's not that good,
So some things that happen in ceremony can be purging, right? Throwing up, or maybe you'll
hopefully
go to the bathroom.
Or purging of old thought processes and belief systems, the purging of old emotions. When you're yawning, big yawns because you're waking up. When someone's purging in like with their stomach and they're like this, and you can see, why would you go like this? Because you're trying not to let something go.
Right.
If you simply were to just understand that you want the medicine, it takes trust to build, the relationship.
Yeah.
But once after X amount of ceremonies, ayahuasca is here to heal and to teach. Say it when you're like this. I know Mother Ayahuasca is here to heal me and to teach me. And I submit to both. I'm open to either or. My intention is to receive what I'm here to receive. When we rise to that level of wisdom, we will recognize our body for what it truly is, a water temple housing a spirit we call the soul. And when we're in the ceremony, we will feel that essence mode moving through us. We're so dense, but in actuality, we're 80% water.
Right.
So how are we so tight?
Right.
And so in ayahuasca, we allow when we realize things in actuality, we can and just move the energy. And so you purge all the time. You're just not throwing it up.
Right. That's what people I find that haven't sat ayahuasca. Their biggest comment is, I don't want to throw up.
Well,
and it's like, but that's where you're getting your information. That's where you're getting well. That's where you're ridding yourself of what doesn't serve you anymore.
It's silly, isn't it? Because if someone has like riddled with depression, taking 6, 7 different drugs, concoctions, to make them be awake, to make them go to sleep, to battle the depression, etc., right? They don't even remember what their true personality is like, right? And you're telling me that the possibility to be cleansed from all that at its source, which is inside of you, in a single night, you're considering not having that happen because of the possibility that you may throw up in a bucket?
Fear.
I mean, you don't even have to. No, the fear of changing, the fear of being responsible for yourself, the fear of not accepting my mom didn't love me, the fear of it's his fault, the fear of not being able to lie to yourself anymore. Deep in the subconscious, we're like babies.
Who shouldn't drink ayahuasca?
Anyone coming for the wrong reason, for sure. For that's number one. Psychological stuff is a case-by-case scenario. You can't make the problem. You can't make blanket statements on what's going to happen. For example, what person one, depressed. Person two, depressed. Person three, depressed, right? Person four, depressed. 2 men, 2 women. Different concoctions, all basically sodium fluoride-based SSRIs, right? They drink ayahuasca. One may be completely never take anything again. One may reduce drastically whatever they take and only take it here and there. Another person, for the most part, depression's actually, although it's very hard for people because when they're depressed, it can control their life. With ayahuasca, it's pretty simple stuff. It's like you got mud on you and you just jump in the pool and then jump out. Wow, the mud's gone. It's not that hard with ayahuasca. And we're not talking about cancerous tumors. That's surgical. That's different game. But just general depression can be like baptized in your own soul. But the interesting and the reason why it's hard to like pin things down is because each one of these 4 people will tell you a different thing, the way that they got to the bottom of it, whether it's through vision, whether it's through hearing, whether it's through inner knowingness, whether it's through memory recall, or all of that combined. That's the magical, beautiful thing about ayahuasca is that it's completely a personalized experience for each of you. And that's one of the reasons why I say, like, you know, we can be, and ayahuasca is like super, super, super involved, but at the same time, without the medicine, you know, how much healing is going to happen?
Right. So people that are depressed and, you know, people that are on these SSRIs, these medications, they want to make sure they're not taking the medication. That is what I've heard. The only way you can die is if you are taking one of
drugs.
Medication. Yeah. Or hardcore drugs.
So you have to look. The facilitators should be gathering this information. Number one, most important thing is the half-life. So take a drug, look up interactions with SSRIs, which is a chemical MAOI, interactions MAOI, right? Now, we know that all SSRIs have interactions with ayahuasca. Now, SSRI is the medical terminology for a depression medication. The average depression medication is out of the body 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours, right? Some 10, some 12. But the longest one is 42 hours. So let's just take the longest one we know. And so you need to be off of them for at least 72 hours. 72 hours, right? Which is part of the reason why I say 72 hours of the vegan diet. Because if you can take 3 days and be off of this chemical substance, half-life means how long a chemical stays in your bloodstream. Now, then you also have how long residue stays in organs. So you have to really be with someone who really knows what they're talking about, obviously, to know what to look for. But let's just talk half-life. So if 72 hours is long enough to take an SSRI out of your bloodstream properly, then that's enough time, which is dangerous. That's enough time to clear the energy of cow milk. You know what I mean?
Right.
If 72 hours is enough time to clear the SSRIs, which is potentially fatal, then it's enough time to clear the karmic energy of the cow you ate. That's where the 3 days come from.
Why no meat? Why no cow? Why the vegan diet?
But why no meat? Well, why eggs?
Sure.
Because an egg is not an animal.
But why no meat? Essentially. What can happen?
So the second that an animal takes its first breath, then it's embodied as karma. And so thus, if you're
eating their karma.
yeah, so if you eat, well, you're eating their karma, which doesn't necessarily, like, I don't think a cow's gonna have a lot of karma, but it's the karma of whatever that energy so for example, in Jews and Muslims eat kosher and halal, right?
Correct.
Sacrificial part is the same. Now, a Jew and a Muslim would say that the prayer is the most important part. That's not the most important part, because these animals were being sacrificed in the Middle East thousands of years before these religions existed. They understood the energy. So of course they raise them humanely. There's no art, everything is a pasture. But the moment they're going to sacrifice an animal, they blindfold the animal and they make sure to cut the throat, right? And to cut at the throat. Now, because if the animal felt any pain or released any fear, the chemical of fear through the brain would go into the blood and come through the throat and not pollute the meat through the blood. Okay? That's why it's kosher, or that's why it's halal. And we simply don't have that here as much. So you don't want to drink milk from a cow that's being injected with hormones, that's living in misery, that's literally just pumping milk 24 hours a day, its entire life. And you're drinking that energy of that animal that's suffering. And then you're going to go the next day and drink ayahuasca. The first thing you're going to have to do is release and process that energy, of the animal suffering, whatever the animal you consume, you're going to have to process that energy. And why? You want to process your own good and your own bad.
Right.
Why?
No interference.
You don't go to ayahuasca and say, I'm here tonight because I'm going to drink this cup of medicine to heal the suffering of all the women in the history of the world. Shh. You're not here to drink this cup of ayahuasca because of all of the suffering of the Holocaust. Shh. We're not drinking this cup of ayahuasca for Gaza. We're not doing any of that. Those are the biggest level of spiritual ego bullshit you can imagine. We have more than enough of our own stuff to deal with.
Right.
We have to humble ourselves. You know what I mean? I'm here to drink the ayahuasca because I need health.
Yes.
Because I need healing. I don't even have to know what that healing is. I need direction in life, even though I think I know where I'm going. Because I am here for guidance. Who knows what is behind the curtain that you can't see? And sometimes we've forgotten things.
100%.
And sometimes ayahuasca can go, and the simple vision done, because there's so much you forget. And then 3 days later, oh my gosh, you showed me a picture of when I was painting when I was 6. And then you remember that. You're like, oh my God, that was the moment. That was literally the happiest moment of my life. And I had just painted 2 lines. And then my mother said, come on, it's time to go. We're going on vacation. And they moved it and you never touched it again. And you're like, and the next thing you know, does it mean you have to quit your job and become a painter? But maybe it does mean that. But it means that now you will have found your artistic expression in life. And if you have your artistic expression in life, then you are fulfilled.
Mm.
And if you have your artistic expression in life, whatever it is, then you have a certain energy that people can feel. You have a magnetism because you are expressing yourself with singing. It could be anything. It could, the best people in the world look at something as an art. There are mechanics, engineers, architects, painters, singers, everyone. Whatever your art, find your, it's the first book I wrote is The Art of Awakening. So we can look at this process as an art form instead of this logical, the 10 steps. It's not 4-minute abs, 3-minute abs, or it's like the art of awakening, right? If we can look at our process of awakening as an art, then we can see that we are in our form of creation, and thus we can see other people in their artistic expression. So now you're a painter, can go to someone's paint exhibition and not hate. You can appreciate because one day you'll be there,
Right.
Or keep suffering. People go and they come to ayahuasca and they get healed. And as time happens, this is for all of you, you start to become the center. We're the star of our own reality show. Okay. And that's fine. That's what we're looking at, right? We're all the stars of our reality show. But if you find ayahuasca when you're in the matrix, working a job, partying on the weekends, taking prescription drugs, and you come to an ayahuasca ceremony and you get cleansed from all that stuff, and then actually find like inspiration of a higher source, and years pass and you're drinking medicine and you become a healer or a teacher of certain things, just because you don't drink ayahuasca anymore, you forget to credit where you got transformed from. And that's the problem. The difference between a gift and a blessing, because ayahuasca can bestow great gifts upon us. But when we embody the gift, we share it, and then we understand blessings. And the problem with people is not about being pro ayahuasca the rest of your life, but just because you teach a certain type of breath work now, don't forget to credit where you got the first healing and thus the inspiration to go on that path of modality. And I'm not talking about people. I'm not saying give a human credit. I said from the beginning, ayahuasca.
Right.
I was talking about ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Because even if you drink ayahuasca one time and you were liberated from that which held you down, and now you're on the different path, why would you not tell everyone the actual truth? You have, and by the way, this is with people in Miami, New York, and LA, but it's all the way up. You've got all sorts of very famous people that, on all the levels. Some of them tell us they drink ayahuasca, Deepak Chopra. Some of them mention it, and some of the big ones don't. They just pretend like they just figured it out on their own. And that's, I know for sure, a complete lie. And thus, the gift goes away. But that all you have to do is share the gift, and it becomes a blessing. It's like birthday cake. You've heard me say this. On your birthday, in Judaism, on your birthday, you can bestow the greatest gifts. Islam as well, and lots of these religions.
Yeah,
right?
you give the blessings to others.
Yeah,
on your birthday.
you could give the highest blessing on your birthday, right? And that's true, right? Because you're in alignment, and then it's clearer. So on your birthday, what happens? Someone brings your favorite cake.
Yep.
Now, if it wasn't your birthday, you would offer some, but if there's 20 people, you're going to keep some for yourself. But on your birthday, what do? On your birthday? Oh my God.
You want to share.
That's because the cake was a gift, and we want to share the gift because we want to receive the blessing from giving a blessing. Intuitively, we know it. As a child, as an adult, we know it. That's why, if we're talking about serving ayahuasca, people come and say, "Oh, Omar, thank you so much." As ayahuasca, I'm always like, me.
Yeah.
Like, Omar, thank you so much. That was unbelievable. I can't believe it. Ayahuasca, right? And I walk away. Don't ever think you're going to trick me to pretending for a second that I think that was me.
Right.
I'm a part of the thing.
I think the thank you have to accept really is more thank you for keeping me safe.
Yeah.
Thank you for guiding this ceremony, and thank you for keeping me safe. That's the way I see it. I thank the medicine for the lessons and the blessing.
Yeah.
But I thank you for keeping
no one needs a shaman until you need a shaman.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You can have 5 nurses, and nurses are amazing, but all of a sudden one person needs a doctor, and then the nurses are like, where's the doctor?
Yeah.
And then there's doctors, and then there's surgeons.
Yeah.
And I made sure I trained only with the highest level surgeons imaginable. And I put up everything possible. Any challenge they gave me, everything. I just stayed.
What do you have to say about people that are downing ayahuasca being served in America? I think people that aren't experienced with the medicine, they feel they have to go to the jungle. I just think people that are just not in the knowledge to understand.
Oh, go to the jungle then. Feel free. Go to the jungle. The question is, I say someone, I've been wanting to drink ayahuasca for a long time. I said, well, great, but I'm only going to go to the jungle. They tell me, but I'm going to go to the jungle. Okay. How long have you been thinking about drinking ayahuasca? Oh, 4 years.
Right.
Amazing. But you're going to go soon? When? Did you? No.
And who?
So you've wanted to drink ayahuasca for 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to the jungle someday to drink ayahuasca, but we don't know when. It's childish. Because the truth is that you go to the jungle when you know how to drink ayahuasca. In my book, The Corazon, it says, someday is always one day away until you make your way into the now. Right? So it's like, what better time than now?
Right.
You know? And so for me, the medicine showed me going to jungles. The medicine showed me shaking leaves on top of people in a temple overlooking an ocean. I was like, what? What the? I've never even seen the leaves, by the way. At the time, I'd never seen chocapos, and I'd never heard an eco. So there was like, what is this? And it's me doing like, oh yeah, I'm going to be, first of all, at the time, I was afraid of dark spirits. And then number two, my biggest fear in the world is singing in public. So why the hell would it, and why would this be I was like, this doesn't make this vision, this ceremony made no sense, right? And so, but at the same time, the medicine showed me going to a jungle, and the medicine showed like one of my teachers, Maestro Javier said he saw me a year ago in ceremony, and he knew I'd come.
Beautiful.
So this is ayahuasca divine guidance.
But I think the big key is that you listened.
That's
Fight against it, but at some point you had to listen, and you went.
And continue to listen. That's the point. Either you listen and continue to listen because you trust, and if you don't, then don't. It's real simple, And so for me, I follow the guidance of ayahuasca. In another 10 years, it'll be like a quarter of a century. It's just crazy to even think of where things can go because it's so wild. It's crazy, like how these things all work. But you either have to trust and you have to have faith. The greatest thing we can ever truly do is learn how to surrender, right?
So I've struggled sometimes in ceremony with surrendering.
And the ceremony teaches us about the ceremony of life, right? And so if you think about it, think of these words. The greatest thing we can ever truly do is learn how to surrender. Now, it does not make intellectual sense because it's not supposed to, because it's a spiritual understanding. It's to let go. Yeah, the mind says, don't surrender. Stay with me. Your voice is like, listen to me. I'm here. Don't surrender. Don't, right? Because then there's this, and you're like, oh, this is the scariest place. We're afraid of the darkness. We're afraid of our own darkness to go into, we're afraid to go beneath the surface. We're afraid to go down into the earth to get to the root of the problem because we're afraid, because we're programmed to think that in the darkness, we expect to find evil. And so we're all afraid, and that's how they keep us all down. They tell us in the unknown places, stay away because you're going to find evil, right? But what we find when we go into the deeper cavities and recesses of self, what we do is find a pure form of self and then ourself in a more formed essence. And all you have to do is observe or experience that in a single moment and in a single breath. And now you have the highest level of the understanding of meditation because now you're not trying to have a practice of meditation. You can just close your eyes and remember that and breathe into that and create the meditative state. A meditative state can be accomplished in a single breath because the breath is a single life. You inhale, you create the life. The journey of that life is the process of that breath. Whatever you're thinking about, gratitude. By the end of that breath, peace inside of you is what you feel. Because when you dedicate a life of gratitude or life in a breath of gratitude, peace will always be the result, right? And so if we're able to bring it back into rawer and rawer forms, then we're able to truly uncover like the miracles. Like, think about this, like spiritual cleanliness. You can go baptize yourself in the River Jordan 5,000 times. Maybe it helps, but a true spiritual baptism, so to speak, requires medicine. And when we actually take a breath and go and feel spiritually clean, man, you don't want to trade that for anything. That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't party.
Well, you're also, you're so connected to the medicine. You're probably more sensitive to those energies that are out there. So you keep yourself away from them.
I am, but I'm also strong. I'm also very capable of not picking up anything in the dirtiest place. but it's the subclass
Expose yourself to it. Yeah.
that's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's the wisdom. And the wisdom that is just a part of you. I just served ayahuasca to 20 people. 10 of them are dealing with depression, and I came out clean. It's more decisiveness because I have, I've laid myself bare in, jungles and caves and deserts and
And I think
hotel rooms and
that's what keeps you good at what you
your
do.
house.
Yeah. Because you continue in the work with the medicine on your own. It's not just about serving the medicine, it's your own relationship with her as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to serve ayahuasca forever. Like, I don't have a way out. There's no, the is what it is. The difference is that my level of involvement will significantly change. Part of the thing is about speaking more about the medicine. That's serving the medicine. Like if you drink ayahuasca and ayahuasca transforms your life, and then you of course do the work, and thus the transformation is complete. To serve ayahuasca, all you have to do is tell people the truth. Hey, I think you should consider well, you're so different now. You should consider ayahuasca.
That means I serve ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's the point, because in ayahuasca,
I share it with other people.
That's the point, because a ceremony happens with two things. One, someone had to tell someone to ayahuasca, and two, they had to find someone to serve it.
Yeah.
So which one is more important? Without someone hearing about ayahuasca, they've never heard it.
Right.
And there's a power to the word, abracadabra, what I speak of created. Ayahuasca is a substance. I mean, you say that word to somebody, they'll never forget it. When you say ayahuasca to someone, you have planted a seed.
Yeah.
And either curiosity, hope, pain, and suffering, all these things are going to be watering that seed. And that seed will remind them in the middle of the challenging time. Oh, yeah, ayahuasca. I wonder.
I keep thinking of Icaros, and Icaros are the songs. And it's not like you went somewhere and said, oh, I'm going to learn this song for ceremony. It's like these were given to you.
Oh, yeah.
In ceremony. And I think that's what's beautiful is you bring the traditions from the jungle and from the different tribes, and you're singing in their native languages.
Yeah.
And I think the medicine loves that.
That's why I'm an ayahuasquero. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like, a maestro is singing in the ceremony, right? A maestro is a conductor, a master of ceremony. You know what I mean? Give or take certain things. That's you can't control everything, obviously, but you certainly can guide the medicine. And if you want Mother Ayahuasca to dance for you, to even reveal herself, sing to her in the language they were singing to her for thousands of years. You want to pray to the God of the Garden of Eden? Perhaps you should do it in Hebrew.
Right.
You want to sing to Allah? Do it in Arabic. You want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is the sense? What is a Hindu mantra in English? Yeah. It's just words. What is a Hindu mantra in Sanskrit? The right way. So the idea that you're going to try to serve ayahuasca, you're going to sing in Spanish or Russian. Now, don't forget that, like, you can be the best musician in the world. Like, we have very musical friends. We're talking about an ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
You can have the best songs ever. When we're drinking ayahuasca and you're singing whatever you're trying to sing, the second someone who really is connected to ayahuasca, it's a different, the galaxy, the universe has turned a page. Now you're in their universe. You know what I mean? Now you're inside their space. And now you're going to see you're going to be able to witness the connection between the person who's singing that and then the medicine. And you're basically bearing witness to that. You're inside that space, and that connection, the stronger it is, there's a force field. That's why you don't have outside spirits coming in and all those things, because they can't even see inside.
What do you mean?
It's just such a powerful field. They can't, imagine
the field that you
ayahuasquero or ayahuasquero and the medicine, because they all like to call in different spirits and stuff. I don't play with spirits. I'm singing to ayahuasca. And then the forces, the Sachamama, the Wairamama, the Yakumama, the Kundalini of the different forces. So you're singing and different languages, because I've come to learn that each different tribe has a different chakra. So if you were going to become a yogi, then you wouldn't just go learn hatha yoga, you would learn yoga. Thus, your journey to become a yogi would be learning all different expressions of yoga and then putting it together. And now you're in union. Now you're in yoga. And that's what I did with ayahuasca. I went and I learned and I experienced the different tribes. When this one speaks in Quechua, this one's Shipibo, this is Ashaminka, this is Wambisa, this is Kokama. And half of those label, and then learn there. But you have somebody who stands up or sits down and sings something. And when they sing something, based off what the medicine reveals to you, you're like, wow, or maybe it's nothing. So they sung codes, and I witnessed what I witnessed, and I go, ah. So I have the code, and I can change language. Like I like to switch. If I'm singing to the lower chakras, I use Kokama. If I'm singing up to the heart, I'm singing Shipibo and Quechua. If I'm doing them so I sing in the different languages for the different chakras, and I'll switch them in the ceremony. But you can only understand that by going and doing like hundreds of ceremonies with them, 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 and then you really get it. And even then, you get it doesn't mean you can do it.
Right.
You can get it. It doesn't mean you can do it. Like you can read books on Tantra. You may talk Tantra.
Right. It doesn't mean that you can.
It doesn't mean you're a Tantra master.
Is ayahuasca something someone can become addicted to?
No.
Right? Because it's not a chemical. It's not a drug.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. The last thing that I'm going to do after an ayahuasca ceremony is have another ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
How often do people drink it? How often is it okay to drink it?
I mean, that's
personal journey.
Yeah.
I find when people do find the medicine, sometimes they go deep and they drink. I know I did my first 2 years. I drank a lot, maybe once a month. And I did a lot of healing, though, and I did a lot of group healing.
Yeah.
And then it came a point where I wasn't called to the medicine. And then when she would call me, it would
graduation
year, once every 2 years.
Graduation. Not everyone's supposed to serve ayahuasca.
Right. And not everyone needs to drink it.
Not everyone.
Some people drink it once a year. Some people drink it once in a lifetime.
Yeah. There's medicine of all kinds. Now that, people are running around with DMT pen saying ayahuasca vape pen.
Oh, really?
It's a DMT pen.
It's a DMT pen, which is chemical. DMT is not, but those DMT pens are chemical.
Yeah, watch out, dude.
Yeah, you got to be careful. And that's why I want to do this podcast, because I want to share this information of what is out there and the proper ways. And so people aren't afraid, but also that they're not running to go try these things with just anyone.
So the message is important. And we have to remember, we have to stop crowning people. Like a shaman or an ayahuasquero is a person who simply, I'm talking about a real one, is a person who just has an ability. Doesn't mean they're a good person, a bad person. It doesn't mean anything. You don't have to like them. You can hate them, love them. But what they are not is special, because when you open the ceremony, you ding the bell. I drink the medicine. I serve you the medicine, right? Then there's the ceremony. Then at the end of the ceremony, ding the bell, ceremony is over. That person's job is over. We're not in an ayahuasca ceremony. An amazing basketball player is an amazing basketball player because you see what they do on the court. If it's Tuesday afternoon in the park, we're listening to their opinion about geopolitics more because they're a basketball player.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know how you fix a bad ayahuasca ceremony with a bad fake shaman? You have to go find a real one and go, if you smoke DMT and now you feel like spirits are chasing you and you feel like your energy is drained because little jinn are sucking your energy out and you don't realize it, you have to go drink ayahuasca. that I'm aware of. I don't know how else to fix it. I mean, breath work can work, but how many breath works are you going to, I'm not available for like 10 breath works in a row.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like 10 breath works in a row. Do one ceremony and clean house.
Clean house.
Yeah. And by the way, viewers, Susan knows all of this stuff, just for the record. Okay. Susan, you're one of the most beloved people in my life, always. And Susan was my first manager. She was a part of the beginning. What people didn't even really still know what ayahuasca was. We were doing meditations and breathworks.
Yeah.
And then because of the meditations and breathworks, people would be interested. How can I go deeper? And then I would have a ceremony. I would fly places. The meditation would be sold out. The breath would be sold out. The ceremony would have 1-2 people, you know? And then because of those experiences, there were those that had been doing lots of work and want the opportunity to go deeper. And it's like, ironically, this Saturday, or maybe 6 months from now, it's just available. And she's seen all this stuff, you know, and she's been a part of it intimately as a part of these putting together the ability for people to find the healing.
One thing I find is really important is integration.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, being able to process what you saw, what you felt, what you experienced in that ceremony, and integrating that back into your real life, because we come out of these ceremonies. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons people want to go to the jungle, because they can fully disconnect from their 3D life here. And so maybe if they're drinking in a Saturday night in Miami, and then they're going back to work on Monday. So I guess if they're in the jungle, they're staying there for a week, and maybe they're having a little bit more time.
Yeah, I agree. Susan, it is a battle, because the complicated part, and I guess I didn't actually fully answer that question, so I'm glad you brought that back up. The thing is that if we were to wait for everyone to find the center, book tickets, book a retreat, etc., hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people would have never drank the medicine. Okay. And so one of the things that ayahuasca told me when I was just getting comfortable in the jungle, time to go. What? Time to return to the urban jungle. And I was like, I literally just accepted being here. This is home. This is reality here. You had the center in Costa Rica. We got some retreats going. I'm going to Peru. We have the whole, it's organized. It's operating, you know? And that was a hard pill to swallow, you know? But then ayahuasca showed me these 2 little Colombian taitas. A taita is like a Colombian ayahuasquero, the big feather headdress, like walking through the airport, very proud, very happy, you know? And then showed me them being turned away and with their head down, because they start to recognize feathered headdress. Because the handlers want to keep us down. Please, you understand. The only way you can control people is by keeping them living in a state of fear where you're their only savior, whether it's governments, religious organizations, etc. All structures of control require control to be a structure. But we're the stars of our reality show. But the most important thing, and I agree, and the integration part we should definitely talk about, and I think that's one of the most important parts. But I will say that I was directly guided to bring the medicine into the urban jungles, to bring the medicine. I was shown before I had my back surgery. I remember I took out my phone, I took a picture of the map of Europe, and I drew lines, and I put my phone away, hands up, and went into the surgery for my lower back, right? And if you see where I drew those lines in 2015, it was Kiev, it was Istanbul, it was Monaco, it was Paris, it was everywhere that I went all the time and served medicine every 5 or 6 weeks to those locations. Those were the lines were drawn. Now, why? Is it because I was psychic? No, it's because I already was given the download. It's just that I'm slowly unveiling the download when it's necessary for me to know. I'm not thinking that I came up with it. I know I didn't come up with it. I didn't come up with half of these ideas. It's all a task, it's all a gift of a possibility, because I was shown at the beginning what the finish line was. And when I felt there, I was like, I breathed in some at night, and I just lay there in my bed and I was meditating on that feeling. I was like, the feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment, and peace was the ayahuasca showed me that my passion was being a car mechanic or a chef in Italy, whatever it was. Man, it only takes so many nights in a row of meditating on that feeling before you sell everything and go there. It just so happens that it happened to be ayahuasca.
Right.
Because it could have been anything. Could have been anything. And I'm telling you, within that first, 6 months, 8 months, I think, I sold everything and left to the jungle with a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old. you know, and they're like, out of here, you know, where exactly? Don't know. Following the signs. And here I'm still following the signs.
I mean, it's about trust and surrender. It really is.
But some integration during that time would have been nice.
Yeah.
I just integrated the first, 11 years and, 2,000 ceremonies just last year.
Really? Yeah. Well, because you've been out there serving and helping others.
No, but I had like the time with the surgery.
Yeah. Well, yeah, your surgery. That's a story.
I had time to integrate. I had about 13 months to integrate the first decade.
Yeah.
But it was a powerful experience. But integration is important. That also is tricky because you have to find egoless people because they can tell you lots of stuff.
Yeah. I think for me, when I helped co-facilitate integration for your ceremonies, it was really, it's listening. It's listening. It's not trying to give them answers. I think sometimes people just need to talk it out, even to just hear it themselves, but to talk it out with someone who's experienced enough to understand it. If they're going to tell their brother and their sister and their best friend that doesn't have experience with ayahuasca, they're just going to be like, oh, they're crazy. They did drugs and they saw these things. But if they're talking to someone who has a lot of experience with the medicine, they're going to help them to accept it.
Yeah.
And process it in a different way.
Yeah. Again, number of ceremonies, sure. But how long time? You can drink, you can have 150 ceremonies in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it several years in a row. But that's 1 year. Someone drinking ayahuasca 8 years is a different variable.
Mm-hmm.
So both are necessary, and if someone's fresh out of their healing and, are they healed? Because people, have you not noticed that people are they're still healing?
Yeah.
How long are you healing? Forever?
Forever.
We're healing forever?
At
one point, well, no, I can say no. At one point, you have to declare that you're healed.
One of the most beautiful things to see when people come out of ceremonies is that transformation, that not eating meat, not drinking alcohol, not smoking, like ridding themselves of those things that really are distractions and ways to numb ourselves.
Yeah.
Or
feed dark spirits.
They become lighter.
And so if you drink enough of the alcohol, right, free will, the only way you can let a spirit inside of you is through fear. It goes, and it comes in, or through invitation, through seances, inviting, through praying for something to come enter. And the third way is any of those combined with alcohol. Now, the only thing that comes through with alcohol is dark and evil. And I'd say evil more than dark. And so if you drink enough, all of a sudden you got so drunk, you don't remember anything. The next day someone says, you did, Susan? You slapped that girl and you did this. And you're like, what? I didn't do that. Are you serious? Well, technically you didn't do that because when someone's possessed, they don't remember anything. Right? But you did also do it. That's the problem. And that's why even in the stores, it says wine and spirits. It's telling you it's a spirit.
It's a spirit. So the podcast is Sageful Living, Live a Life of Aligning. Can you share any of your practices that keep you aligned besides drinking and serving ayahuasca?
I would say ayahuasca makes you have to have different things to stay aligned. I'd say that's a whole different chapter in life. That's a whole different thing. You have to do way more to say in that, and also give up a lot. Every morning, I start off with a meditation. It's 5 minutes, but I'm in it. I'm in it.
Is it guided? Is it music? Is it just you in silence?
No,
different every day.
I pick a theme and I run with it.
Okay.
I pick a theme and I run with it until it's fully embodied, where eventually I stop listening to it and I will just replay it within my inner voice, and it's mine now. You understand?
What do you mean a theme is?
Let's say abundance.
Okay.
So you'll pick that and you'll find something that you like, shorter than longer. It's meditation is about reaching a state. It's not about looking apart. Okay. And you need 5 minutes, right? Or 10 minutes, but something quick, something impactful. If you're serious, If you're messing around, then you can be playing meditation music all day. Okay. And I will, close my eyes. I'll breathe into it. I go really into like as if I'm in an ayahuasca ceremony. I'm there, right? And I'll listen to it. And in my mind, I'll be repeating after they say it, right? Eventually, after I keep listening to it, I will know my mind will be repeating what they say because I'll remember it, and then I'll repeat it after. Then eventually it's like in full alignment. And then eventually I don't listen to it. I will just go into meditation and I will replay it in my inner temple. That's when you know you have embodied this thing. And I will still continue to run that exact thing for X amount of time. The process of that, I've been working on this specific one now for 3 months. 3 months. Still. Same one, because it's working and I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in the middle of it. And then at night I pray. At night I pray. My prayers are a little different. We have to also recognize ourselves. Like we have to really know what we are. When we say like higher self, like people pray to angels as conduits to reach God. People will invoke a prophet to hope that the prophet can thus talk to an angel and thus go to God. Right? These are brokers, right? If we recognize ourself and our higher self, another way of saying the higher self is your angelic self, right? So you're already there. So the point would be to align from that perspective. Now you're commanding. But not any command, I command, but not like that. It's more of like confirming through an affirmation at the same time. You know what I mean? You're asking, but also confirming. It's a difference. Just imagine from here, staring between our temples lies the key of the third eye, right? So we close our eyes and we're staring directly into the center of our consciousness. When you're staring through the third eye, you're staring at the center of your consciousness. And when you lock into that, it should feel like you're moving forward. Not at like light speed yet, but it'll feel like you're moving forward, right? You keep staring, concentrate, right? Centering your existence through the heart, right? And then recognizing the higher self, right? And then the breath would be cyclical through the heart, through the higher self, and like a cyclical moving forward, right? And bringing in, or you can bring it in and there's different practices. We should do a whole thing on practices, but I will tap into my higher angelic self. And once I connected there, which is a breath or two, then I pray.
Right. Beautiful.
My prayers are coming true.
Your prayers are coming true.
My prayers are certainly coming true.
I need to pray more.
Every night.
Yeah.
Meditation a day. And by the way, half of the prayer is gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah.
Recognizing that I did receive health today.
Yeah.
Why is ayahuasca not a religion?
Tom, is there anything you would like to add or share about what you're up to get out in the world or where people can find you?
I'm doing more privates for the last 3.5 years. I have a couple public ceremonies that provide for the opportunity to come join Miami, New York for now. At Shaman Omar Instagram. We have an organization, the Universal Theognostic Society. It's a philosophy, theognosis. Theo is supreme creator. Gnosis is wisdom through a direct experience. Thus, theognosis is a philosophy of a wisdom through direct experience, right? Birth, death, near-death experience, meditation, breath work, medicines, ayahuasca.
Your podcast?
Yeah, that's called Free Thought Unchained. I'm, interviewing like very famous rabbis, Christian scholars, Islamic scholars, atheist philosophers, Christian philosophers. So I'm kind of diving into the religions, the theology with people.
And to expose people that there are other ways than the Western world and the Western medicine, and especially that they have to wake up. People just live in denial, and there's so much more out there to have a fuller life.
Liberate yourself.
Yeah.
Liberate yourself. Wake up. Declare, now is the time. Now is the time, ... Now is the time for me to heal myself, ... Now is the time to wake up. Now is the time don't waste any time. the next breath is not promised. So take a moment and experience the creation of a life in a breath, and then the journey of that life for a single breath at least once a day, or you're literally just going to stay asleep. It starts with something. Meditation can be a single breath if done right.
Beautiful. I can't wait till you're out there sharing ayahuasca through work.
That's what we're doing. I hope.
Thank you.
I love you,
I
sir.
love you.